Now I feel watched or seen.
That's right. If you can just turn your camera on, and I'll spotlight you, Adam, so everybody can see.
Yeah. Watching you, Adam.
Got the whole
we are following everybody, and to be fair, I'm an MVP lead, so you need to remember my job is to follow you.
Monsters Inc. It wasn't Wazowski. It's always watching Wójcik. Come on. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development Biweekly call, and we are live with the community. Today is June 5th, 2025, and we have got an amazing call in store for everybody. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about. First, we're going to see the latest updates on the community, and we're going to talk about the Copilot prompt of the week. We're going to talk about PnP.NET libraries and PowerShell, script samples, Copilot Camp. Excited to see the finale of that. We're going to see the latest on Power Platform samples, and then everybody's favorite time, which is what? Picture time, so get those fantastic faces ready. And then we've got 3 amazing and incredible presentations for today. Adam is going to cover mastering contributions to the PnP community, so excited to see how we can all get involved there. And then Kurt, Knut, and Martin are going to be here talking about their SharePoint hackathon entry, how to build a construction process automation with SharePoint agents. And Dan is going to round it out with his SharePoint hackathon entry on how to create gamified experiences in SharePoint. So some really awesome stuff. But first, let's talk about all those resources that are available to each and every single one of you. We have our Microsoft Community Learning videos in our YouTube channel. Now, this is a YouTube channel that breaks all the rules, but in all the right ways. YouTube tells us, don't post so much. You get better numbers if you post less. We're like, forget it. We're posting every day because we want to make sure that we're showcasing and sharing all that cool information with each and every one of you. So we thank you for subscribing. We've also got our LinkedIn group for discussions, got our open source tooling, we've got our sample galleries that span the spectrum of the technology and products that we all know and love, Teams and SPFX, Power Platform, list formatting, the list boom, 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 goes on and on. Now, you only need to remember one URL. That's right, just, well, maybe 2 if you want to. You can show off, but only need to know one of them for you to access all these resources. It's aka.ms/community/home or community.ms, that top level domain that's super, super cool and easy to remember. That'll give you access to all these things and more, so definitely bookmark it and check it out. And if you're on this call, hopefully you like community calls. And we've got plenty of them. So we've got our weekly Microsoft Speakers call. Now, this is unique because it's those product managers and those program managers that are building and responsible for all the things that we're using each and every day. That is weekly on Tuesday. Now, normally, it goes on a break. We're on a break, but not this year. It is going to be a community takeover, and we're going to see all the cool things that everybody in the community has been building for the summer. So no break at all. We're all going to stick together and be able to see all those cool things. We've also got our Microsoft Power Platform monthly call, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, our Office add-ins, and our bi-weekly sibling calls, Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Community, which you're on right now, just in case you didn't know, and Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework, each and every single Thursday. You can get access to the recurrent invites at ak.ms/community/calls. These are never canceled. We are always going to be here for you, so you can rely on them like clockwork. Great Scott! And we will always have them. And next Tuesday's call, that 10th of June, we're going to be hearing from Shefali on Unlock Enterprise Knowledge for Agents with Dataverse MCP servers. Matthew is going to talk about getting started with the Microsoft 365 Agent SDK and Toolkit. And Fabio is going to be covering his SharePoint Hackathon winner submission from the dashboard for SPFX. So very, very cool stuff. Fabio's a great guy. I can't wait to see that. Now, if you're watching today and you think, I would love to request to demo on this call, well, we would love it too. So we absolutely want you to, see, we would love it. We would love you to submit your request. So all you got to do is fill out this URL, ak.ms/community/request/demo, and we will get back to you, reach out to you, and we'll get you scheduled. And if you need a buddy, we can help you there too. Just let us know. We'll buddy up with you. We can help you craft the presentation and maybe even present it together. So don't think if you've never done it, it's not an opportunity for you. It's open to everybody, and we want to help you do that. So please don't hesitate. Now, if you're also wanting to contribute in other ways, like samples or using the samples, but you're not quite sure how to navigate that GitHub hubs, that hub of Gits, that labyrinth that is GitHub with weird terms like fork and blame and raw and pull request, we are here for you too. Sharing is Caring is that program that provides hands-on guidance. That means that we are going to work together in a live Teams call. June 23rd is our next one. We'll walk you through how to navigate GitHub and how to submit a request or a contribution. And guess what? It is a contribution to join and do that call. And it's not recorded, which means it's a safe space opportunity to ask any and all questions. You don't have to go on record and being fearful that, well, what if I am the only one that asked this question? Everybody else knows the answer. Now I'm afraid to ask it. Don't be. That's how we learn. So join that session, ak.ms/sharing is caring, and you can get signed up for it right away. So don't hesitate. Well, maybe hesitate till after the call. Then go do it, because we still want you here. Okay, now we also have our recognition program. So when you do contribute, you get recognized in really cool and fun ways. We've got these fun, cool badges, even more to come. So things like Prompt Pro, Snippet Sorcerer, Modern Search. We've got our React controls. We've got our list formatting, right? So that's right, Warrior Horses. And then we're still in the midst of our Star Wars campaign for the rest of this month. May the open source be with you. The Fork Awakens and Rise of the Contributor. I've been loving seeing everybody share these. Again, these are real and accredited. They show that you're making a difference, but it doesn't mean that we can't have fun. So that's what we're doing here. We're recognizing you in a real, a formal, and accredited way. You can associate these to your LinkedIn profile, put them on your blog, put them on your resume. They do make a difference. Let your managers know, let your clients know that you are being recognized for the work that you're doing. You're leading the community, and we appreciate you for it. We love you for it. But we do need you to opt in if you've not already been part of it. ak.ms/community/recognition, and that will make sure that we start tracking all of the work that you're doing, and we will get those badges to you. And then, of course, another recognition program we've been having that's been a lot of fun has been Copilot Dev Camp. So, Paolo, let's wrap it up, huh?
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, talking about fun, yes, we are here to celebrate the end of the Copilot Dev Camp Awards initiative. So this is a wrap. I want to thank you all, and specifically, I want to thank the 1,500 and more community members who challenged themselves, and the more than 200 people who achieved their goal to claim a badge. And of course, thank you, David, because your help was really fundamental. And if we can move to the next slide, we want to say one more thank you to all of the community members who claimed their badges and they achieved their goal. You can see all of the names in this slide. They are moving. And it's been a glorious ride, as you can see on the slide. I want to thank you to accept the challenge and congrats for achieving your goal. Please keep on learning. There will be more initiatives in the future, so stay tuned and let's keep on learning how to extend Microsoft Copilot. Thank you, and back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Paolo. And Paolo's so humble. This would not be possible without Paolo. So it's a great team effort. Paolo, thank you for being the amazing contributor that you are. Even though you are now within Microsoft, you're still giving back to the community. So thank you. Awesome stuff. Okay, let's talk about some project-specific updates. We're going to start with our Copilot prompt library. This is one of those easier ways to contribute, everybody. We've all kind of become those prompt masters and engineers. We know how to talk to Copilot and AI, and we've been using it for a variety of ways. So guaranteed you have a way that's been really successful that likely no one else has thought of. This is a way to get recognized. Go contribute to this or even the Power Platform prompts as well. There's lots of opportunities there for you to do that. And we, of course, want to recognize our prompt of the week. This is from Bruno. That's right. We're talking about Bruno. He created a agent instructions contest winner prompt here, actually. So congratulations on that. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's about trying to get your kids to clean their room and do household chores. Really love the ingenuity here and the real life usage of it. Great job, Bruno. I guess it beats mine when I said the beatings will continue until morale improves. I'll try this one and see if that works to get my kids to clean their room. So great job. Thank you, Bruno. Nice work. All right, let's get into PNP PowerShell. We've got them.
Hey, David. For the PNP PowerShell updates, we have been busy with quite a few changes. So first of all, a big change here is that the nightly builds now support Azure automation. So for some of the folks who are still stuck on 2.x because we didn't support it right away. Now the PNP PowerShell module will work in Azure automation as well via the nightly builds. Besides that, we improved quite a few commands such as the register or the unregister hub site, as well as we improved the PNP site template command. So by default, it will not support applying the templates on the admin side collection of SharePoint. So we did quite a few changes around that. Besides that, there were quite a few other minor bug fixes and improvements. If you run into any particular issues or anything, just let us know and would be happy to help you out with that. Thanks. Over to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Gavin. That is just astounding, those numbers, by the way. 140 million alone is amazing. That's per day, everybody. So something must be going right. If you're not using PNP PowerShell, then definitely look into it. Thank you, Gautam. Great work. All right, next up is script samples. Paul is otherwise unoccupied today, or preoccupied today. He had a call that he could not miss, but he wanted to say hello to all of you and thank you all for contributing. We've got some new samples here under Graph SDK from Polaris, Dan Toft, Casper, and Dan Toft again. So great job, everybody. Really appreciate this. Is another program where you can get a specific badge for all the work that you're doing. And again, we've all got these utility scripts that we've created. So reach out to Paul if you've got any questions. He's a great guy, and he says he'll bite your hand off, but I guess that's a European positive thing. So don't worry about that. It's a good thing. Paul's a great guy. So don't hesitate to reach out if you've got some scripts you would like to share. I guarantee you, again, others will benefit. So please do. And then Kate has been doing an awesome job on our Power Platform samples. She also was unable to join today, but I wanted to make sure that we highlight the work that she's been doing, as well as all the contributions that you've been doing. So Kinga, Nadi, and Manish, thank you so much for the different samples that you've been contributing. Again, this is great work. None of this would be possible without all the really amazing dedication that you all have, and the passion that you provide each and every day. And we know you're doing this in your free time, so we really appreciate it. All right, well, what time is it? It is picture time. So let's get those cameras turned on and we will go into together mode here. This is getting those arms warmed up. All right, there we go. Choose a scene. Let's do outdoors because it's getting that time of year, right? Let's move this over, maybe outdoors. There we go. Teams is a little asleep today. There we go. Okay, good. All right, let me do this. Get this lined up, and then this lined up, and then this moved out. Okay. All right, we're doing good on time, everybody. So if you want to take a second, I know sometimes Teams has been a little latent in getting that camera activated for picture time. Bess is running. He's running. All right, I see a couple more showing up there. Excellent. All right, there's Adam. Great. All right, seeing some smiles. Wonderful. There's Zhao. It's great to see Zhao in person. Woohoo! Loved seeing that last week before? Man, time flies. Okay. All right, everybody, let's give this just a couple more seconds and we will count it down. All right, let's go 3, 2, 1. All right, let's wave to the community, everybody. Great to see you all again. Thank you for the smiles, the warm wishes, all the positivity that you bring each and every week. Really fantastic to see you all. Thank you so much. All right, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program, and that is going to take us into our amazing presenters today. We're going to kick it off with Adam, who's going to cover mastering contributions to the PNP community. There we go. Awesome. See, you took over the screen. Adam, take it away.
So it's okay. So thanks for confirming that you see my screen. So hi everybody. Today we're gonna do a bit of a soft skill. So we're gonna see some tips and tricks how that will help you contribute to repositories that are part of our PNP community. And this was a perfect for a short session if you are starting, you're thinking about your first contribution, but also if you are advanced and already did some, but you're thinking about other repositories. As we noticed, even folks that are advanced and used to using GitHub tend to do some small mistakes, and we also do them. So everybody does them. So just a short review. And here, the slides start moving. We're going to see some tips and tricks on each stage, from prepping your, let's say, local environment to do a contribution, to contributing, to opening PR, and what then you can do as a follow-up, because the contribution doesn't need to end at the PR level and the PR is accepted and merged. You can do even more, be recognized, and do a follow-up activities, which I'll also mention. Okay, so usually I pass the slides saying that I'm just a dev, and this is true. But just to point out that, so I'm a maintainer of the CLI for Microsoft 365, SPFX Toolkit, a couple of those repositories. So I'm on this side of taking on the contributions and reviewing, but also I'm an active contributor in many open source repositories. So I'm on both sides and making the mistakes on both sides. so it's not all, it's not the things I will be talking today are from experience. Just wanted to highlight this. Okay, so at the very beginning, it's always about prepping. Let's say we are happy with the things we did. We want to contribute back to the community to share our love, knowledge, and whatever. But how do we do about it? So our community is basically based on GitHub. Probably most of you already know that. If you are new to GitHub, this is the place where you will be looking for our community resources, all samples, tooling, solutions, everything. And basically, this is how the page looks like. If you go to the GitHub/PNP, you'll land on this page. Please do follow. Please do check our members if you want to reach out for additional support. All of our PNP core team members will for sure help you out. And you can find the repositories here. We are openly public. So most of our most of our repositories are public. So we share everything, but not every repository is open for contributions. So either you can check the repository here in the repositories tab, or better in the separate product, let's say tooling or solution page. So every bigger PMP initiative has its own dedicated docs page, let's say. So here CCLI, PMP script samples, PMP.js list formatting, and it could go on and on and on. And all of those sample pages, solution pages, whatever, have their own link to the specific GitHub repository that is for sure open for contributions if you want to help us out. So this is the easiest way to reach out and find us in the correct place. And then you need a fork. So basically not the fork one to eat, but this kind of fork. So what it basically means, let's say I'm on the PMP.js page. I use it regularly. I use it in my SPFX solutions, and I want to contribute back. I want to help out. So the best way to start with the docs, and then go from here, transfer to the GitHub page, and then do a fork directly. So you land on the PMP organization PMP.js, and then start with your own fork, creating this repository is like a local, let's say, copy on your account. And depending, it's also good to check the guide first, because it's not always recommended to copy every branch. Maybe sometimes only the default branch of this repository is required, but sometimes it isn't. So it's best to look first at the contribution guide. We're going to do a second slide on this one, but basically check if you need only, for example, in the main branch. Sometimes it's required to take the main and the dev. Each repository has its own, let's say, rules, and then create a fork, and it will create so let's say a copy of this state of this repository on your account, and you can see that it's forked from this repo. What does it actually mean, this fork? So really easy. Now there are two instances of the same repository from that point of time. The one is on the PMP org, and the other is on your account org. This means that you can play around with this repository, not being afraid that you will break anything, as long as you commit everything to your instance of PMP.js or repository that you're forked. So you can hack around and play around and improve it, and it's your own to build, share, and play. But what if you want to contribute back? So that's where the contribution comes in. First, read the manual. Yeah, this is I know probably everybody knows about it. Maybe some of you forget about it. I always forget about it. I think I'm advanced. Yeah, I don't need to read the manual. Well, it can kick you at the back of your head, and you can make mistakes that then require a lot of work to get your contributions back on track. So first and foremost, before you even start contributing, creating your own branch, and start adding your own code, first go to the contributing guide. And many repositories do it differently. In PMP organization, we do it in two ways. So first, you can find the contribution guide on the product websites. For example, the CLI for Microsoft 365 or SPFX Toolkit or PMP.js, they have a docs web page, which I've shown previously, and there you can find the contribution section. Or some repositories don't have a, let's say, docs page, but are really active. Usually there are sample repositories like the Power Platform samples or SPFX web parts and extension that has a web page, but mostly it's just samples that are then leveraged and the Microsoft adoption page. Then you have to go directly to the repo and check for the contributing and markdown file in the default branch of this repository. So for example, here, this is a website from the PMP Core SDK. So this is a .NET library which allows you to enhance your .NET applications to communicate with Microsoft 365 Cloud. And here you see a contribution guide, and it's usually very detailed. So it's really important for us maintainers that you have a safe and easy start. So usually those contributions guides are really detailed, providing you step-by-step guidance, how to set up your environment, how to build locally, what do you need to know before you open your first PR, which branch needs this PR should target, and so on and so forth. So you can see there are many links here to basically start off, and I really advise you to read it everything before you write your first line of code to contribute back. As you can see, it's many tooling PMP docs have it. So for example, the PMP script samples have it. It then has a sample for your sample, so you can start with like a template, and lots of work is already done for you. The PMP.js, the CLI, and many others that wouldn't fit this this slide. So yeah, but as I mentioned before, some don't have a docs page. Then you need to look, for example, in the default branch. So the default branch is the branch that is usually open when you just enter the repository. Usually it's main. And then you need to find the contributing MDs on the markdown file, and then you will see find all the description that is helpful here. For example, many sample repositories in our PMP org has it, and there you can find guidance how to what are the ways you can contribute, because contributing is not always coding. It's providing feedback, it's opening issues, reporting bugs, but also some standards. So if you want to contribute a new sample, what should be the folder structure, naming, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's move on. Then we need to contribute. We can, let's say, split our repositories in the PMP org into repository types. One is tooling. So for example, CLI for Microsoft 365 or PMP PowerShell or PMP Core SDK. These are tools, or PMP model search. And then the biggest and the most important rule, I think, for every maintainer is to always start with an issue. So don't like surprise us with a PR without discussing what you are planning to do. Or even if you see an issue that you are attempting, you want to do, first get assigned to it. So this is a thing we notice some people just are too excited to help us, and we really appreciate it. But we are when we are surprised, it's hard for us maintainers to plan work when something will be merged. So before you see something you want to contribute, so for example, this kind of issue, please let us know that, hey, I want to work at it. I want to give it a try. Don't worry if you get assigned and after a couple of days, something will change in your life and you cannot commit to it. Just let the maintainers know and you'll get unassigned and this issue will be opened back to the community. No harm done. Everything is fine. We are all human and everything is understandable. After you get assigned, usually the label change from help wanted. So this is no longer an open issue and this is your issue you can work on, and the work in progress state is added. So this is really important so also that we plan that not only a single contributor will work on a single issue. So we just to try to fix this problem that two people were trying to fix the same thing. And then also it helps us plan, and we know that someone is working on something and we can plan the future progress after something is committed. In sample repositories, it's a bit differently. So it depends here. In tooling, it's mostly 99% you start with an issue first before you open a PR. In sample repositories, not always. So if you want to create a new sample, then usually an issue is not required. You also check the contribution guide to double check it, but usually an issue is not required. You can just open a PR with a new sample of your Power Platform solution or script sample. But sometimes we have issues in sample repos that some sample requires updating or some clarification, or there maybe is a bug. And if you want to help out, then first the same kind of thing. First check the opened issues. If you see some sample that is already not working, also open up your own issue, letting the maintainers know that, okay, something is not working in one of those samples to try to use. You can already get assigned to it and help us out. Then this doesn't change, create a feature branch. So if you have your local instance, your instance of the repository, and you probably have the main branch there, try not to contribute code directly to this main branch, but first create a feature branch, so something that is dedicated for an issue, and commit the code there. What does it mean? You can do it multiple ways, but basically you can do it from the web UI. So this is where I'm here on my instance of the PMP.js. You see I have the main, the GitHub pages, the version 4 branches here, and I want to create my own feature branch where I will be contributing code. So I can do it here directly, just new branch, and pick based on which branch I will start and just add a name. Or you can, when you, let's say, pull the repository locally on your machine, you can just do a checkout with -b. So if this kind of branch doesn't exist, the Git will already create it for you, and then commit your code on a specific feature branch, which is probably by name will be somehow similar to the issue you are fixing. And then open a PR. So when we are contributing to tooling, of course, hack the planets, help us save the planet, but usually it requires also testing. Remember that a good product requires also good testing. And in terms of samples, a good sample requires good description, README, screenshots, definitely. So don't forget that it's not only about coding. Okay, testing is also coding, we know, but now Copilot usually generated, but doesn't matter. But it's not only about coding, it's sometimes about coding and testing, and coding and good documentation and screenshots. And in terms of samples, it's really important to follow the standards. So double check the contribution guide to see the naming, the folder structure. So don't try to figure it out on your own. For sure, in the contribution guide, it is described how your new sample should be contributed and look like in the repo. And in terms of tooling, try to follow an approach that you are assigned to a single issue and you open a one PR that resolves this one issue, not, let's say, one PR that resolves a couple of issues. And those are many points that I made wrongly. So this is all from my experience. And then contribute. Please be polite. So I was really thinking, should I show it? And then I decided that I will show some examples, but not in our PMP org, so I won't point out any person directly. These are the examples I'm showing are from Microsoft VS Code actually repo. I try to anonymize because it's not about a person but about the reaction. Those kind of things also happen in our PMP community repositories, unfortunately. So please just be polite when contributing or trying to help us out. We know that sometimes it's emotions going on and some stress from your work. But we are all people and doing it aside of work, so please do be aware. In our repositories, like here, this is a VS Code Microsoft, so this repo about repo where we can contribute to VS Code, really well-known tool, we are also quite active. As you can see, so there are some issues that are just a waste of time, of maintainers' time, like this one. There are issues where there's like a bit of a really hard conversation where a contributor is really, let's say, sure of that he is right and it's not trying to, let's say, learn together and share the knowledge, or there are just sometimes hate speech. So it does happen, and even if you are not one of those people, I hope so, please be aware that maintainers sometimes receive this kind of, let's say, hate. So always start with a positive feedback, because maintainers for sure will always start with positive feedback towards you. Okay, and then after you finish your code, there's a PR review process. You open a PR that contributing to the branch, which is for sure mentioned in the contribution guide. And there's for sure also in the contribution guide a guide how to go about submitting a pull request. So as I said, read the manual. This is also something I tend to forget. And usually there's a guidance how to go about opening a PR in a specific repo, and even sometimes there are guidance like in the CLI repo, what happens after you open a PR, how's the review process, what's the line, who's going to be reviewed next, what we are going to look at your review, so you can already double check on your own your PR in terms of what we are going to confirm. And be patient. Sometimes we have a lot of PRs to progress, and please be responsive, because not every PR is okay, we approve and merge. Sometimes we need to do some turnarounds and go back to you with some changes, and then you need to go back to us committing and fixing the things we pointed out. So it's very important that after you open the PR, you're not done yet until this PR gets merged. So please be responsive and try to check those GitHub notifications from time to time. And then don't be afraid to ask questions. So our maintainers don't bite. No, none of contributors bite, I hope. And basically, it's always okay if you don't understand the comment, you don't understand the feedback, you don't know how to do it, just ask questions. Don't try to figure it out with Copilot, because us are for sure better than Copilot. I hope so. Okay, and then after you get merged, whoa, you're done. Well, yes, but you can do some follow-up things. The first one is the recognition problem. So this is a program, not problem. The recognition program, this is something David always mentioned. So you can join, and you need to opt in only one time, and then you can receive, usually every repository gives out some badges for your contribution. So it's really good to leverage them and show off your skills that you help the community and what do you need, the skills you have. After you contribute, it doesn't matter if it's you contributed to a tool, and for example, you extended new feature in the SPFX toolkit, or you just added a sample in the sample gallery. You can most of the times share and demo what you did. So after you contributed, try to think that, okay, maybe the thing I created, I added to this product or to this repository, I can show it off. Because after you add something, we always try to promote it. Of course, that new samples show up on each community calls or on socials. But if you do a specific demo about your sample, then it's going to get more recognition and more people will notice it for sure. So it's always good to to do a follow-up demo about the thing you added to the community and share the knowledge and love. And if you're afraid, so we can request the demo here on our main page. Tell us about your demo, and then there's going to go through a short form how to go about it. And if you're afraid to do demos like me, I'm always terrified. We have a sharing is caring program or a program. I don't know. I have a problem today. It seems. Anyway, there's a sharing and caring program that you can join, and there's a super team, like a super group of people like David or Hugo that you can buddy up with, and they will help you up with your demo to prep for it. You can validate your slides, or they can even be on the demo their own and do like an introduction of you. And if you contributed to CLI for Microsoft 365 or SPFX Toolkit or some repositories that I'm a maintainer of, you can for sure reach me out as well. And I already buddy up with a few of people, and we share demos like this together to share the stress. Actually, it's so stressful for us. So it's stressful for everybody. Maybe not for like the pros, but that mentioned this. Okay, so this is the buddy program. I forgot there's the slide. And I guess I'm done. So I hope you enjoyed those few tips, and thank you. And you rock, because you helped the community rock to help us expand. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody. This is all I wanted to share today, and happy contributing.
Woo! Awesome, Adam. Thank you. Always love your excitement. And everybody, GitHub is one of the many ways in which you can contribute, by the way. So really great to see Adam highlighting that. But there are things like the community calls, and there are documents that you can help update. And technically that goes through GitHub, but it's a much easier process. So if you at all want to contribute, Sharing is Caring is definitely your gateway. Go sign up for that session that's in a couple weeks and join it, and we will walk you through it together. It'll be awesome. We'll do it hand in hand. It'll be a team effort. So Adam, thank you, thank you, thank you. Great job. Okay, all right. Well, we are going to move on to our first SharePoint Hackathon entry demo. Kurt and Knut and Martin are going to cover how to build a construction process automation with SharePoint agents. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Hey, great. Thanks, David. Appreciate the opportunity to present to the community here. Quite exciting. So just a little bit about ourselves here. We're a team of 3 MVPs, and we're located around the world. I'm actually in New Haven, Missouri, which is the wine district of Missouri, as you can see. I'm also a Scottish small pipes player, so like to sip some wine and play some pipes. Work with Covenant Technology Partners as a principal architect, again, Copilot MVP. We have Knut here, who is located in Oslo, and he has an affinity for trolls, as you can see. Very involved in collab days there in Northern Europe. And then finally, we have Martin, who is located in Hamburg. So again, a team of 3 MVPs. We enjoy being and working with one another, but we are able to work remotely. So we really enjoyed working on this submission. And so quickly, we'll just jump right into it. So in terms of describing the project, what we thought we would do is take a scenario, a business challenge, of a fictitious construction company that we've called Dustro. And the idea here is that this company is having some challenges around identifying employees with certain skill sets to work out in the construction field. So they do lots of build and repair around concrete and foundations, carpentry, and so on and so forth. The challenge is that the construction foremen who are out in the field cannot always find the right people to select to work on the projects. So in our particular scenario here, what we have is we have an application that will allow us to give the foreman an ability to select individuals who can meet their criteria. This is a quick overview of the architecture. And we'll just look at the top here, start at the top. We start with a construction worker who actually fills out a skills assessment form in Microsoft Forms. And what we do is we run a Power Automate script, which converts the forms input into a PDF, which allows us then to use agents to search that information through generative AI prompts. So we do have a built-in SharePoint skills agent that's available to the info workers through the SharePoint portal. But the real sauce here is around the construction foreman here. You can see the foreman has a skill request form that they can fill out. And what this does is it triggers an autonomous agent, which then between Power Automate and Copilot Studio and ChatGPT and so forth here, will run through and actually pull the information out and email the response to the construction foreman. So just some real quick context here. We have this is the image of our internet portal here. As you can see, this is what the information workers would use to go in and interact with the portal. This is an example of the skill assessment form that each employee would fill out. And so the idea is that they would put in their name and their different skill ranges. They would rate themselves as either beginner, intermediate, or experienced based on one or more skill areas. And then the Power Automate script, as I mentioned, will convert the form information into a PDF. The reason why we did this was because SharePoint Lists was not available at the time to be used by Copilot. And so we decided to just generate the forms in PDF, and that allows the agents to pull that information. And then this is an example of the form that the foreman would use. Again, they put in their name and title or email address, and then the skills request, again, that they're looking for, the skills required is entered in the form of a prompt or a request. So in this example, they're looking for employees with expert level skills in trenching, for example. This is just a diagram to show what we're doing here in Copilot Studio, and I'll go into more detail on that in just a minute, but we are using generative orchestration for that. And as many of you know, the orchestrator has different trigger points that are available within Copilot Studio, and the orchestrator will create a plan, based on the information that's put into the agent. Ultimately, the life cycle will produce the ability to hook into a trigger down here in the lower right to pull the generated response. This allows us to actually consult the response or evaluate the response before it's actually submitted, either through a conversational interface or something else is done with it. And we're going to be doing a little bit of work around some table formatting, and so we'll show that in a minute. All right, we're going to jump into the demo real quick here. So again, this is the intranet site I showed you here in PowerPoint. Nothing real new or interesting here, except we obviously did a lot with regards to using some of the new features in SharePoint. This is the skill assessment form that I talked about here earlier. Again, it's just a form available off a link, can be filled out by the employees as a self-assess. And then we also have the PDF that gets generated from the form. So as you can see here, it's just a straightforward PDF. What we've done is we laid out the information by a different skill category, and we've listed what the skill level is, advanced, intermediate, expert, and so forth here. And this is what Copilot then will be using to evaluate. This is just an example. We do have a SharePoint agent that's attached to the SharePoint site. This allows info workers to be able to run queries just using a straight conversational interface here. And then finally, this is the skill request form that is used by the foreman to be able to go out and request the information here. And again, in this example, we've got John Smith, who's a foreman with his email address, and he's saying he needs an employee with expert foundation skills. All right, we're now going to pivot into the Copilot Studio agent itself and talk about how we kind of put this thing together. So first of all, as I mentioned, we are using generative orchestration. And again, just running through the overview of the agent here, you can see that we are using the employee skill profile as a knowledge source. This is just that document library that's in SharePoint, which is, up in here. Let me just pull that up for you real quick. Again, it's just the document library here that has all the profiles in PDF. So this here's the knowledge source here. Again, we just got some PDF files out here. And then what we've got is we've got the different components of the agent here is we have a trigger, and a trigger is going to be executed for this autonomous agent based on a form response that's submitted. Now this is the skill request form that the foreman is going to fill out. And so it's going to run this particular trigger. And the trigger, when it's executed, will actually run this Power Automate script here. So all we're doing here is we're just simply listening in for a new response form based on that skill request form. And then what we're doing here is we're going through and we're actually pulling out the, actually we're pulling out a particular variable here, which is the actual description of the skill that's required. So even though we have the entire body available for us, what we really want to do is just send the one variable off the form that's the actual skill request into Copilot. So in this last action here, we're sending that prompt then into Copilot, the generative orchestrator for processing. Okay, then the next step here is we are going to be tying into the, through topics, we're going to be tying into that generative orchestration lifecycle. And here what we're doing is we're going in and we're looking at, as you can see, the AI response generated. This is triggered by the orchestrator automatically. So this topic is going to fire based on this trigger. And all we're doing is we're pulling the response in through input variables. And we're applying another generative AI prompt against the result coming in. So what I'm saying here is, hey, take the input that has come in and format it into a table format in HTML for use in an Outlook email. Only include the table and no other text. So what we're doing is the generative response coming back, we're saying, hey, we really want you to reformat this into a table format, okay? And I've just got a couple of debug messages here. And then we want to actually take that response, the table format response, and then we have an agent flow here within this action, okay? And I'll pull that up here. The agent flow is very straightforward. All it's really doing is it's taking the input that's come in from the prompt response here, and it's just sending that in through a body in an email, okay? Pretty straightforward. All right, so let's quickly just run a quick test so you can see this in action, and I think that will pretty much finish it off. So I'm going to just go in. I'm going to test the trigger. I've already submitted a form, so I'm just going to take an existing form submission here to start testing. And as you can see in the side panel, the test panel here, it's actually running the trigger, processing it. And then now it's kicking off the process response topic, which is based on that AI response generated from the orchestrator, okay? And then finally, we're sending off the email to the fictitious format, basically, okay? So as you can see, we've completed all the steps. So what I should see now is an email, and there it is. And you can see it's taken the results of the individuals who have the foundation. In this case, I was asking for foundation skill, right? Expert level. It's giving me the link back to the source here, and it's formatted this into a table. And that's it. That's what we got. Do we have any questions?
Really cool stuff. Yeah, I don't see. There's a few questions in the chat, which I'll let you go ahead and let me see. We got about a minute if you want to. One of the questions is, with so many passive implementation, what should be the starting point piloting new applications, and what criteria you use to decide which tasks and processes to prioritize?
Well, I think that's probably a business question, maybe a business ROI question, if I'm understanding it correctly. So, the idea, of course, is that most businesses are grappling with AI, trying to figure this thing out, right? And while they know they need to do something, many of them are afraid to do something. It's sort of it's afraid, they're fearful to do something, they're fearful not to do something. So the idea is to come in and help them understand where their biggest business challenges are. And in this particular fictitious case, right, their challenge is being able to match skills to work, right? And so maybe just start with a POC, right? Like what I've done here, just a quick proof of concept showing them the art of the possible, and then allow them then to measure that ROI.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Well, thank you all three for, one, your entry into the hackathon, and two, being willing to come on and share it with the community. Kurt, thank you very much, and Knut and Martin, you all are amazing. So, and by the way, I also really appreciate the fact that you highlighted that you're all global. You don't work next to one another. In fact, I think you all work at separate companies as well. So I think that highlights the amazing collaborative spirit and opportunity within the community. So really, really, really great job. Thank you. All right. Next up, we've got Dan on how to create gamified experiences in SharePoint. And I can tell I'm already going to love it just from his bio picture. So Dan, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for giving me your time to talk to you. So what I'm going to show you is what essentially was my hackathon submission, where I decided to take a different kind of an angle and kind of take the liberty and exploring something that I've wanted to do for a while, which is create a game-like experience in SharePoint. So the idea was, you know, I don't know about where you are, but in Ireland, escape rooms and that kind of a game is a big enough thing. So I thought, well, SharePoint can probably do that. So let's give it a go. So I'll get rid of this silly looking slide. I just kind of, yeah, I don't know why I did that, just did it. But what I'll do is I'll show you the kind of end user experience of this solution. And then I'll take you through how it's actually structured in the background and how it all works. So the premise of this really is that, so say you've got an initiative, or you want to launch something or an intranet or something like that, and you want to bring people into SharePoint and maybe get them a bit excited and just explore it a bit. That's what I'd use this for personally. So I created this fake game called The Great Escape 2025, and this is the landing page for the game. So this is where you point people to give them an introduction to it. So all this was really just a flex on flexible sections, really, pardon the pun. So a way that I could just experiment with it. When I was creating this first off, flexible sections were really, really new. So it was a good chance to play with it. So anyway, long story short, we've got an intro in here, some metrics that you might pop in here just to entice people to come on further, highlights of the game, and then how it works. Don't worry, I'll show you all that now in a minute. And then we get into the concept of levels. So the way this game works is that it's a progression game. So there's 3 different levels in my case here, and each level contains a puzzle. And the idea being that you start on level 1 and you can't progress to level 2 or level 3 till you've solved the preceding level. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. But that's essentially all it is. It's a simple enough model that you could expand to have more levels or more intricate puzzles. But I'll show you what I did anyway for the moment. So say you were new to this and you want to get started, you go begin challenge. And you'd come into level 1, and this is a separate SharePoint site. So for each of my levels in the game, I created a separate site just because I wanted kind of unique teaming with it and stuff like that. So when you're in here, I won't bore you with all the puzzles, right? But in here, it's basically the structure is the same per site. You give a little clue here, a little riddle, I suppose. And then there's something in here that relates to this that you have to submit a code that you work out. So long story short in here, there's a puzzle here that relates to each of these images. When you arrange the images in line with the sentences here, you take the first letter from each image and you get the keyword gold, right? Or the code word, I should say. And that's kind of why I had chose an Inca looking fella here. So the idea is you figure that out. You come in here, you say submit your code. And what we're using here is a form that's created from a list that sits in the background, but don't worry about that. I'll show you that in a minute. And you got to put in your code. Now put validation on the field here. So if you enter in the wrong code, you can't progress. Now, my first kind of iteration of this, I let them input anything, and then I used Power Automate to check it. But it was kind of slow in terms of turnaround. People had to wait for it to be evaluated and come back with a response. So putting the field level validation kind of sorted that out. So the code is gold, but if I typed in silver, for example, and clicked submit, we have a kind of passive aggressive incorrect. You got that. You got to get the answer right, dummy, right? So that's what happens there. But assuming they do get it right, okay, we run some flows in the background, which essentially gives them access to level 2. So then they'll get communication about that. Then they'll come on to level 2 and rinse and repeat, right? It's another clue with some cryptic kind of a puzzle. Submit your code to a separate list, get it right, move on, hit level 3, and away you go. And that's kind of what it is from their perspective. They're kind of going through this game, trying to solve the puzzles as quick as they can. And how they can kind of keep track of things. Well, if we're back on our kind of home site, there's a leaderboard page. And one of the big things that Power Automate is doing here is that every time somebody submits a correct answer, we have a leaderboard list in the background of this site, and then we can see their progress. So it's a lonely tenant with just me in it, right? So I only completed it. But if anyone else does and they're on level 1, level 2 would say, not started yet, level 3, not started yet. If they come to level 2, it'll say working on it, and then this will say not started yet. And once they've submitted the correct answer for level 3, we calculate their total time it took them to complete the game, I suppose. And that's how we figure out who's at the top of the leaderboard versus bottom of the leaderboard or in progress. It's essentially it. I'll take a breath for a sec, but yeah, not too much to it really. I kind of kept it fairly simple in terms of the puzzle was just contained within a page, but you know, since thinking about it, I think there's a million different ways you can create interesting puzzles. I suppose the thing would be to be careful that someone doesn't hit the old Copilot agent for the site and, you know, find the clue that way. So I think the kind of images versus other things are a way to protect against that, but I didn't consider that at the time. It just came to me afterwards. So anyway, that's that bit, right? So if we look at how it's actually structured and how it works, so hopefully you can all see this, okay? This is kind of like a blueprint of the game, right? So this big white box here is that landing site, and that's really the engine that sits, which the game works off. And then we've got our individual level sites down here. We really only have them containing a page at the moment, so they're not too important. But the way this kind of works in here is, well, we've got 2 pages on the site, simple enough. The landing page, which you've seen, the leaderboard page, which you've seen, right? And then we've got a number of lists. So the first list we have is the leaderboard list, and we're just embedding a view of this list onto this page. And then we have 3 additional lists, each list, you know, aligning with a level of the game. So every time you submit through the form, it pops into here and you've created your entry. So you can only get in here if you got the question right, because remember we had that validation. So when you submit to here, what this workflow will do, or this Power Automate flow will do, it's going to basically add you to a security group. So I created these 2 security groups, one for level 2 and one for level 3. So if we come down here into level 2, that's this group here, and that has a visitor level of permission on this site. So by completing the first level right, this is going to add you into this site and you get access to it. And then we can do some other cool things because we have a group to target for audience targeting. I'll pop back into SharePoint in a minute and show you that. So that's how that works, right? Similarly, what will happen after you first get onto this list, we're also going to add you onto this list because you've effectively started the game, you've made progress, so we capture you there. And then these other workflows in here are very similar. I'll show you them now in a second, but they're very similar. So when I complete when I submit to level 2 successfully, this will trigger. It's going to look for your record in here, and then it's going to update it to say you finished level 2 and now you're working on level 3. And we do that the same for level 3 as well. And then we've got our kind of 4th workflow up here, which is going to calculate total time. So this is based on a condition. So it basically looks at this list every time an item in it is kind of modified. And what it's going to do is say, well, did they complete level 3 yet? That's the first condition. And then there's a second condition, which is going to stop this getting into an endless loop because this flow itself is going to update the item. So that can happen that way. But that's kind of it. It's fairly straightforward, really. We manage access through security groups. We remove people's permission to this list, obviously, so they don't see the answers. But because we have this really nice way to create forms within a list that people can submit to without actually needing access to the list, that really was massive in making this work. So yeah, some props to Microsoft for making that happen for us. So what I'll do is I'll give you a quick look. I set a timer here on my desk and I forgot to press start on it, right? So I'll keep an eye on the clock. I'll finish up soon, David. So we're back in here on the site, right? So I'll come back to the homepage. Some things on this with the audience targeting and stuff like that. Give it a quick scan there. Right, so I'll put the page into edit mode. And then I'll put the page out of edit mode because I meant to say something before I put it into edit mode. Sorry. So what I'll do is I'll come down here, right? And one of the things down here is I wanted to advertise the levels to people, okay? So you begin here, but I didn't want people to access this level until they've got here. And no, I didn't want to put a link there and they click it and they get the default, you don't have access to this, right? I didn't think that was the most graceful way to do that. So I need these locked until they get access to it. So the way I did that, again, flexible sections made it possible for me to do it in the fact that we can overlay web parts on top of each other. So for level 2, I actually do have the link there, but you see the icon here, it's telling me it's audience targeted. So that link will only display when you're a member of this group. So when you have access. So if you've got access, this quick links web part sits on top of that text there. So you don't see the text, you see the button. So it makes it look like it's been unlocked for you. But when you're not in the group, you obviously don't see this web part. So you just see the text that sits below it. It's a really, it's not a fancy solution or anything like that. Like, it really was just a kind of a hack, I suppose. But it seems to work all right. So I was happy with it. So that's kind of some things we can do like that. Also, because we have the groups, I have the navigation up here, audience targeted as well. So if you have access to level 2, you'll see an easy link to get to it. Things like that are pretty straightforward. If I come into site contents for the moment, I'll just show you one of those submission lists, and they're mercilessly easy, right? So in the submission list level 1, all it is a standard list, but I just added in this item in here, which is to contain the code word that gets submitted. So we have the forms we create in here. Here's my level 1. I just unticked everything and just left level 1 visible. So when someone launches the form, that's the only thing they input. But, you know, we still got who created it, when they created it. That metadata gets captured anyway. In terms of the validation, you guys probably know more about this than I do. But in here, I'm basically saying, yeah, you can submit to this field, but only if you submit gold, gold, or gold. And I was just trying to cover the different kind of ways people might spell it. So that's what that does, and that's where you put in your message. So that's all fine. Power Automate, in terms of that, like I said, it's all very simple. I'm not an expert in Power Automate. Half of you will scream at me for doing this wrong, I'd say, but it seemed to work for me, so I'm going with it. So this is basically monitoring that level 1 submission list. So when an item is created, add the user to the level 2 group, create the item in the leaderboard, and then communicate to the person that, you know, it all went great and they're fantastic. And then we do the same basically for our level 2 submission, wherever it is, it's in here. When I come in here, everything's the same. We're just adding them to the level 3 group, but we just have to do a get items where we're looking up the leaderboard list. We're searching for the person's display name, and that's the item that we have. And then in our for each action, we just update the leaderboard. So they've now cracked level 1, cracked level 2, and they're working on level 3, and we calculate the time. So it kind of does that for their level submissions. The last flow, I'll show you really, really quick, is the leaderboard total time. So again, the trigger on this one is when an item or file is modified within our leaderboard list. And the conditions, like I was saying, are, well, only run when they've finished level 3. That's brilliant. And then there's another column in that list called stop update with a default value of no. So when it's no, happy days, run away. So we've met them conditions. What we do is we compose the time. So we know when they created an item in list submission 1, right? That's one date. And then we know when they submitted a correct answer in list submission 3. So that's our second date. So we just have a function here that calculates the difference between the two. And the date difference function here was really simple. It just did it for me. I didn't have to do anything, to be honest. So we do that, and then we just update our leaderboard list for the final time with the total time, and then we update that stop update value to yes. And that just means that this won't fire off again because it'll fail that first condition. And that's probably about time. I don't know if there's any questions. I probably missed a load of stuff, but in summary, it's just a simple model, right? You're just creating sites. You're moderating access through the groups, and people get to them by answering questions or basically submitting to lists. So fairly basic. You could go bananas with it, I'd say. But yeah, that was my offering. So I'll take a break and leave it there. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Super cool, my man. It's just really, really amazing stuff that you all have been submitting to that hackathon and doing. I said this, was it last Tuesday or the Tuesday before it in Germany? I feel like it used to be, can you make SharePoint not look like SharePoint? And now I feel like we're entering the, dare I say, golden age with your game and everything, right? The golden age of, can you make this other platform look more like SharePoint, right? It's becoming the gold standard, which I think is really, really super cool. So thank you. Very creative, really well done. And thank you to all of our presenters today. Adam, great job on the contributions around the community. Kurt, Knut, and Martin, excellent entry as well. Thank you all for spending the time with us today on the community call and sharing what you created and the time you took to do it. So it really is not lost on us, the time that you all spend on creating these and the passion that you bring. So thank you. Really, really amazing stuff. So looking forward to the next ones as well that are coming throughout the summer. So excited to see all those. All right. Well, if you would like to continue to collaborate with the community, we have that opportunity here in Discord. This is a kind of a one-stop shop, as I call it, to collaboration with the community. It's a server, but multiple channels, so they span the spectrum of all the different things that we are doing. So definitely get in there if you'd like. We have over 2,800, I think that's even 2,900 members now, ak.ms/community/Discord. And if you've got any feedback for us, we would love to hear it. If things are working, we'd love to hear that too. We love to hear that, hey, we're doing something right. But if you would like to provide some contributions around other ways that we can improve things, we would love to hear that as well. So don't hesitate to let us know. It also allows management to know that this is working for them, so we continue to get that support. The recording will be available in 24 hours or less on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel, so go subscribe, smash that subscribe button, ak.ms/community/YouTube. We'll also blast it out on Twitter/X, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, all the socials everywhere. Our next call is, our next General Dev call is June 19th, 2 weeks from today. Next Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework call is next Thursday as well, June 12th. Hugo Bernier will be our lovely host for that call, so we look forward to it and all the demos that are going to be provided there. Thank you all again for showing up and spending time. I know that you have to take time out of your day, and it is busy to join these calls, so we really appreciate you joining, sharing, collaborating in the community. Again, our global community is not one that would be possible without each and every one of you sharing and collaborating. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.